everybody, I'm Raj with Sickbay. Sickbay is software that collects and delivers physiologic data at scale. My department works with our clients and our users to understand how they're using Sickbay to take care of patients better and what other clients and users can do with Sickbay to take care of their patient populations. With me today are my colleagues Mishan and Sulimon. We're going to talk a little bit about what Sulimon's been hearing and seeing out there in the field. Thanks for joining us today.
Hey, thanks, Raj. Hi, Sulimon.
Hey.
Hey. So tell me a little bit. I know you work with a lot of researchers and you're looking at these things that need to be solved in healthcare, plus edge cases, plus kind of, pet projects. What have you seen that's been really impactful and working for researchers looking at Sickbay data?
So the project that I had in mind to talk about today was the glucose reporting at one of the client sites. They were concerned about their level of how they were meeting the Center of Medicaid Services benchmarks, predefined benchmarks for adverse glucose events. And so they decided we want to use Sickbay to get a better view of a bird's eye view of our data and figure out ways we can act on adverse events before they happen.
Okay, so that's cool. So is this a report? Is this something that they could find easily in Sickbay?
Yeah, so there's, so we didn't have this report in Sickbay, already. There's a new feature that had just come out, which was being able to set views where you click on a patient and it brings up pre-populated vitals and stats. So the first idea was, let's make a glycemic index view. So all the measurements of insulin, glucose, everything that you would look at for understanding a patient's adverse glucose event, what led to it or how to prevent it, all of those in one kind of view where when you click that patient, it just shows up. And then alongside, so that's kind of the most granular level of how they were looking at it at a patient level. And then they wanted pharmacists to actually use this. So what they trained all the pharmacists on this view, and they said, here's a dashboard where when you start your shift, you click on the dashboard and you'll see all your patients, and you can sort them by who's the most hyperglycemic, high blood sugar, or hypoglycemic, low blood sugar, and who's having adverse events in the last 24 hours, whether they're given insulin or not. All these are kind of in one dashboard for that clinician, all the patients that clinician is in charge, that pharmacist. And so that's the next prong. And there's a couple more, so I'm going to keep going. There's two more things that are part of this.
Great.
Then there's the bird's eye view I talked about, which is the actual metrics they want to improve on. So now, instead of waiting for their current software to give them those reports, whenever it does, they just click a button within Sickbay and that report pops up, which is like, how many of my patients in this department were, what are the rates of these different events? Like how many readings are normal, abnormal, etc.
And then change for the hospital. Just doing that. I mean, what do you think it means for the hospital?
Yeah. So we saw that, and the person I was working with at the site was really good about saying, this is the current state. These are the metrics. Let's turn this on live and let's see what happens. So they turned it on, and the next following month they saw a 10% decrease in adverse events. And we're now waiting for more data to really solidify that and say which departments are using it, which aren't, who's improving, and how they can improve it more. And there was one other very specific use case. They were like, this is really a win for us, because they showed that for a certain patient, it was the tube feed intake was like, everything was fine with the rate, but there was something where it was like clogged, or it wasn't getting in, the intake rate was wrong. So the feed rate was good, but the intake rate was wrong. So he said within Epic, it would have taken 10-15 minutes to figure that out. When they got the alert, within 30 seconds, they identified the problem and were able to act on it for this patient who was having a really severe low blood sugar event. So that was one of the wins.
Wow. And this is all because the hospital had implemented Sickbay, probably for another reason, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and they saw what was capable in Sickbay, saw what was coming out, and said, okay, we have glycemic reporting that we need to do, and information that we need just as caregivers, and created a methodology, right, all along the care continuum to do that. That sounds really impressive. Do you know why the hospital bought Sickbay originally?
I don't know. I think it was like a COVID virtual monitoring. So they're focused on virtual monitoring, virtual ICU, that type of thing, and that's how it started out. So not a lot of people using Sickbay for glucose, but this group that is using it is getting a lot of benefit from it.
Yeah, incredible. I think that's a great story to share with our user base, just so that they know that this is out there, right? It was something that was created specifically at a hospital, but no reason that the rest of our hospitals couldn't tell the story and implement that as well. Sounds like it's actually affecting patient care and lives. That's amazing, Sulimon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, great.
Raj? Really cool to hear that when you can provide data access to this group of folks, they not only find the most relevant pieces of data for their workflows and their teams, but then that we can support in helping show the extensibility of the system to, get them that data even easier, even faster, right? So that's a great story. Thank you for sharing that today. Thank you everybody out there for joining. If you are interested in learning more about Sickbay, or if you are a user of Sickbay and you'd love to come on and tell us a bit about your story, we'd love to hear it. Feel free to send us an email or drop us a line. But until then, thank you, and we'll see you next time.